Hello friends, have you ever wondered why some people take the biggest risks while some people get scared of even small things? Why is it that some people take big decisions in their life without any hesitation while some people think 1,000 times before taking every step? Is risk-taking an inbuilt talent that only a few special people get, or can it be learned? Risk is such a part of our life that we have to face it whether we want it or not, but the question is, what is the right way of risk-taking? Does it depend only on luck, or is there any scientific logic behind it? If we learn this art, can we also take the biggest decisions of our life without fear? Today we are going to talk about a book that reveals the science behind risk-taking, The Art of Risk. It is not just a book but a mindset that teaches us how we can take calculated risks by controlling fear and achieve extraordinary things in our life. You can achieve success. Risk-taking is not just for daredevils or adventure seekers. It is a skill that everyone can develop. Whether you are in business, want growth in your career, or want to take bold decisions in your personal life, taking risks is important, but there is a huge difference between taking the right risk and taking unnecessary risk. This book explains what is the system in our mind that decides whether we will accept a risk or back out in fear. Is there any way by which we can train our minds so that we take the right risk at the right time? Does our past experience, our way of thinking, and our personality affect whether we will become a risk taker or not? The biggest lesson of the book is that fear is always the biggest obstacle in the path of risk-taking, but the truth is that successful risk-takers are not those who are not afraid at all, but those who learn to manage their fear. That is, risk-taking does not mean that you take any step without thinking. It means that you understand your fear, clear your goals, and then handle that risk by making a smart strategy. That is why if you also want to become a bold and confident person in your life, if you also want to be among those people who follow their biggest dreams without any fear, then this video is for you. In this video, we will decode the most powerful strategy of the art of risk, which will teach you how you can develop the right balance of risk-taking within yourself and achieve success by controlling fear in your life. So let's start this exciting journey without wasting any time and learn the real art of taking risks. Chapter 1: Your Brain on Risk. Have you ever wondered that some people are not afraid of jumping from a high cliff, riding a bike at high speed, or investing crores in their business, while some people shy away from taking risks even in small things? Why does this happen? Does it depend only on our personality, or is there some scientific logic hidden behind it? A very shocking thing has been told in this chapter, that risk-taking does not depend only on luck, but it is a deep wired biological process which goes on inside our brain. Whenever we are in a risky situation, our brain starts doing a fast calculation. Will it be safe to take this risk? Will its results be positive? Will we be able to handle failure? And then our body reacts according to that calculation. But the interesting thing is that not everyone's brain processes risk in the same way. Some people are naturally more risk-taking and some people are more cautious. But why is this so? Its roots are hidden in our brain. Whenever we face any risk, our brain takes a decision on the basis of three major systems: the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, and the dopamine system, the amigo. Whenever we see a big risk, it sends an alert signal inside us. Stop, this can be dangerous. So when someone is at a height, when a person stands up and looks down, or feels the fear of failure before starting a new business, the amigo is working behind it. But the story does not end here. The preflop part of our brain analysis that risk logically. It compares our past experience, our goals, and the possible rewards from that risk. If the prefrontal cortex feels that taking the risk is right, then this amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, releases dopamine, which we call feel good. It is also called chemical. It is that part of our brain which makes us feel thrill and excitement. When we take a risk and are successful in it, our dopamine system sends us a strong reward signal. Yes, it was fun. Try it again. This is the reason why some people are not afraid of taking risks but want to feel its thrill again and again. But this dopamine system can sometimes force us to take wrong decisions. When a person shows extreme risk-taking behaviors like gambling, high-speed racing, or taking unnecessarily dangerous decisions, then the reason for this can be overactivity of dopamine. Some people are naturally more dopamine sensitive, and this is the reason that they repeatedly take high-risk decisions even if there is a risk of failure. Now the question arises whether risk-taking can be controlled. Can we train our brain in such a way that we take the right risk at the right time and avoid unnecessary risks? Yes, it is possible if we understand these three systems of our brain well. We can manage our fear, improve our logical thinking, and control our dopamine system properly. There is a very powerful message in this chapter. Risk-taking is not a random talent, but it is a biological and psychological process which we can master by understanding it. People who take smart risks create a perfect balance between their instincts, experience, and logical thinking. They neither take risks without thinking nor miss opportunities due to fear. So the next time you stand in front of a big decision, ask yourself a question. Is it my brain that is stopping me? Is my prefrontal cortex analyzing this risk correctly? Is my dopamine system pulling me towards the right reward? If you understand this principle, then you can handle any risk wisely and achieve big goals in your life. You can achieve it. Risk is an art and it is possible to master it. You just have to understand your mind in the right way. Chapter 2. The myth of fearlessness. Have you ever seen people who do not hesitate to jump from a height, who ride bikes at high speed, who invest crores of rupees on new business ideas without any fear? We think that these people are fearless. That is, these people do not feel fear at all, but does it really happen? Are some people free from fear from birth, or is it just a myth? In this chapter, we break this big myth. There is no such thing as fearlessness. The reality is that every human being is afraid, no matter how brave he looks. The only difference is that some people learn to manage their fear in the right way and some people succumb to fear. Whenever we are in a risky situation, our brain immediately goes into alert mode. An unseen panic arises inside us. Our heartbeat becomes faster. Palms start getting wet with sweat. And the brain says, "Stop, this can be dangerous." This is our habit which puts us in survival mode. This system has been present inside us for millions of years and it helps us to avoid all kinds of dangers, but in today's time, danger is not only from wild animals in the jungles, but there is also risk in career decisions, public speaking, investments, and relationships. But when we face these risks, even then our brain gives the same primitive reaction which it gives on seeing a life-threatening danger. Now the question is, if fear is natural, then how do the world's biggest risk-takers take such big decisions? Don't they have fear inside them? Real risk-takers are those people who move forward despite feeling fear. They do not ignore their fear, rather they understand it, accept it, and then make that fear their strength. This is the real mindset shift which creates the biggest difference between an ordinary person and an extraordinary person. When a professional skydiver jumps from a height of thousands of feet, he also gets scared. When an entrepreneur starts his first startup, he gets scared. There is a fear of failure too, but the difference is that they do not let this fear dominate them. They know that fear is just a signal which tells us that we are coming out of our comfort zone, and only by coming out of this comfort zone can a person grow. When we understand fear completely, we can use it for our benefit. Fear makes us alert, forces us to think, makes us more prepared. A right amount of fear helps us to give better performance, but if this fear increases beyond limits, it paralyzes us. Fear prevents us from taking decisions and locks our life in a limiting box. That is why the most important thing is that we do not try to suppress our fear but learn to manage it. Instead of thinking how can I eliminate fear, we should think how can I move forward with this fear. The world's greatest leaders, athletes, artists do not do anything but make it their friend. So the next time you feel nervous in front of a risky decision, do not consider it a weakness. It is a signal that you are pushing your limits. There is nothing wrong in feeling fear, but losing an opportunity due to fear can be the biggest mistake. Fearlessness is a myth, but fear management is an art. This is the biggest lesson of this chapter. If you learn this art, then no fear can stop you from reaching your dream life. Chapter 3: The Risk Ladder. Have you ever thought that in the same situation, some people move forward without any fear, while some people get scared and retreat? Suppose two friends are together. Two entrepreneurs are standing together on a high cliff. One of them is ready to jump down immediately while the other feels uncomfortable and backs off, or the two entrepreneurs get upset. Why does this happen? Every person's risk-taking level is different. It is not a fixed thing. Rather, it works like a ladder. That is, whenever we take a risk and are successful in it, our mind gets ready for the next big risk. But when we repeatedly avoid risk, our confidence starts decreasing and gradually we start feeling afraid even in small decisions. Imagine a child is trying to ride a bicycle for the first time. At first he stumbles and falls, but gradually he learns to balance. When he rides it for a short distance without falling, his confidence increases. Then he tries to ride faster and in a few days he starts roaming the whole street without any fear. This is the risk ladder. By taking small risks, we get ready for big risks, but if he does not take it seriously, then he starts taking small risks. If a child stops riding a bicycle in the beginning due to fear of falling, he will never learn it. Now apply this in real life. Suppose you are afraid of public speaking. If you think that one day you will be able to speak in front of thousands of people without getting nervous, then it will seem impossible. But if you take small steps, first speak in front of friends, then in a small group, then in a meeting, then gradually your confidence will increase and you will overcome your fear. The world's biggest risk takers have also achieved heights by climbing this ladder. No person becomes an extreme risk taker in a single day. Every big decision, every big adventure, every big success begins with small risks. This is the reason why some people can handle high-risk situations very easily because they have developed their risk-taking ability gradually. The biggest lesson of this chapter is that if you are afraid of taking risks in your life, then you do not need to take any big risk immediately. You just need to climb one step up on your risk ladder. Accept small challenges. Come out of your comfort zone and gradually leave your fear behind because if you always stay in the safe zone, your life will never change. But if you gradually build your risk-taking ability, you can achieve what seems impossible to you today. Risk is like a ladder. Small steps can take you to great heights. The question is whether you are ready to take the first step on this ladder. Chapter 4 Training for Risk. Is risk-taking a talent that some people get by birth, or is it a skill that can be learned and developed? This question is very important because whenever we see a risk-taker, whether he is a high-stakes entrepreneur, we feel that there is some superpower inside him that gives him the ability to take big decisions without fear, but the truth is something else. Risk-taking is not magic, but it is a skill that you can learn through proper training. When we talk about taking risks, it does not depend only on luck or natural boldness, but it depends on the fact that it depends on how much we have prepared ourselves for that situation, i.e. taking risk is not a coin but it is a calculated process which you can improve by training your mind and body. Now think, when a firefighter goes into a burning house, does he jump inside without thinking? No, he knows how fire spreads, he knows where to go and how to reduce the danger, he has taken training. There are repeated drills so that his mind is prepared to take the right decision at the right time. This is training for risk. Preparing your mind and body in such a way that when a high-stakes situation arises, you can take the right decision without panicking. If you want to invest in a new business, will you invest crores of rupees without research? Absolutely not. First you will study the market, analyze the data, talk to experts, and then take a calculated risk. This is the real formula of risk-taking. Right preparation, right knowledge, and right execution. The most important thing to improve risk-taking is exposure. That is, if you are afraid of something, then you have to put yourself in that situation again and again so that your mind starts considering that thing as normal. When a Navy SEAL soldier trains to hold his breath underwater for the first time, he gets scared, but after repeated training, his mind starts considering that situation as normal and he can complete the mission without panicking. This concept applies to all kinds of risk-taking. The second important thing to improve risk-taking is simulation, that is, you can practice it before taking a real risk. Pilots practice in flight lessons before flying a plane at a height of thousands of feet. Doctors take virtual reality training before surgery and athletes test their performance repeatedly. When your mind has already experienced a situation many times, the fear of taking a real risk is greatly reduced. Now the question is, can any person make himself a smart risk taker? Kat Sukal says, yes, absolutely. If you give yourself the right training and the right exposure, then you can come out of your comfort zone and take better decisions. Every big risk taker first prepares himself by taking small steps, and this is the biggest secret. The biggest learning of this chapter is that risk-taking is not a magic power but a skill to be learned. If you take the right training, develop the right mindset, and gradually expose yourself, then you too can be among those people. Those who take the biggest risks smartly and achieve great success in their life. So now the question is, are you ready to train yourself for the next risk? Chapter 5: The Power of Intuition. Have you ever felt that before taking a big decision, a voice came from within you saying this is right, do this, or after seeing a situation you suddenly realize that something is wrong here, I should stay away from it? This voice that comes from within, which we often call a gut sense or feeling, is called intuition. And do you know that the world's biggest risk takers rely the most on this intuition in taking their decisions? Intuition is not a magic or a secret, but it is a very powerful decision-making tool of our mind which we often ignore. Intuition gives us the power to feel those things which are difficult for our conscious mind to understand immediately. When an experienced doctor guesses the disease of the patient without any test. When an investor invests in a big company without looking at much data. Or when a soldier senses an unknown danger beforehand, all this is the power of the INTU. Now the question arises that how does this INTU work? When we take any new experience, our brain stores that experience within itself. This stored information and patterns keep accumulating in our unconscious mind. When we are in a risky situation, our brain quickly scans these past experiences and sends us a signal without any logical analysis. Is this right or is this wrong? This is INTU. To understand this, let us take a very simple example. Suppose you have gone to visit a new city and you see two roads. One road is clean and well lit while the other road is dark and deserted. Without thinking much, your mind will say that the first road is safer. Because your mind has created a pattern by combining your past experiences and the stories heard since childhood that deserted and dark roads can be dangerous. This is INTU. The same thing happens in case of risk-taking as well, when a professional poker player can guess whether the opponent has a good hand or not without looking at his cards. When a stock market trader correctly predicts the rise or fall of a company's share, or when an athlete takes the right decision without thinking, all this happens due to the intuition that comes from their years of experience, i.e., the more experience you have in something, the faster you will be. Intuition will be formed, but an interesting thing is that intuition is not always correct. Sometimes our mind makes wrong patterns due to past experience, and we can also take wrong decisions. Therefore, Kate Sukel tells that two things are necessary to sharpen intuition. First, to get as much experience as possible, and second, to cross-check your intuition with data and logic. This means that you should not blindly trust intuition but should balance it with logical thinking. The biggest advantage of intuition in risk-taking is that it helps us to take fast decisions when we do not have time to think much. When we have to take an action immediately, then our conscious mind cannot process so fast, but our intuitive mind is already prepared. This is the reason why experienced people are able to take faster and correct decisions, because their intuition is already sharp. The biggest learning of this chapter is that intuition can work like a superpower, but it needs to be developed. The more you develop yourself, the better. The more you put your intuitive power into new experiences, the better will be your intuitive power, and when your intuitive power becomes strong, you will be able to take quick and correct decisions in any risky situation. So the question is, are you ready to unlock the power of your intuitive power? Chapter 6: The Risk-Taking Personality. Have you ever thought that some people are ready to take risk in any situation, while some people avoid taking even the slightest risk? Some people are not afraid of jumping from a height, riding a bike at high speed, or investing crores in a new business, while some people think 1,000 times even in small things. Why does this happen? Is risk-taking a habit, a learned skill, or is it a part of personality? Risk-taking is not a uniform behavior, rather it is a part of our personality. That is, every person has a different ability to take risks, and it depends to a great extent on how our brain is made. When we talk about risk-taking, it is not just a choice, but it is related to our biology, psychology, and past experiences. Some people have a very active dopamine system in their brains which pulls them towards thrill and excitement. This is the reason why some people are more interested in adventure sports, gambling, and high-stakes business. Their brains inspire them to constantly look for newness. On the other hand, some people's brains are more conscious, which tells them to analyze every risk and stay safe. Risk-taking personality can be divided into 3 different categories. Some people are naturally high-risk takers, some are moderate risk takers, and some are low-risk takers. High-risk takers are those who get excited about any new challenge. They constantly need newness and they know how to accept uncertainty. Moderate risk takers are those who take calculated risks, that is, they think carefully. They take decisions with understanding but do not shy away from taking big steps when needed. Low-risk takers are those who give priority to stability, want to be safe in every situation, and avoid uncertainty. Now the question arises whether the risk-taking personality can be changed. Kate Sukel says that yes, it is possible. Risk-taking is not a fixed trait, rather it is affected by our habits, environment, and experience. If someone is a low-risk taker, then he can gradually increase his risk-taking capacity. When we put ourselves in small risky situations and handle them successfully, then our mind starts considering risk-taking as normal. Similarly, high-risk takers need to learn when and how much risk they should take so that they can avoid unnecessary losses. The biggest advantage of understanding the risk-taking personality is that you can identify your strengths and weaknesses. If you are naturally risk-averse, then you can take risks based on your comfort level. You can challenge yourself by stepping out of your comfort zone, and if you are a risk taker, then you can control yourself and take more calculated and thoughtful decisions. The biggest lesson of this chapter is that risk-taking personality is not a permanent thing. If you want, you can change your mindset, expand your comfort zone, and balance your decisions. Real success is achieved only by those people who try to improve themselves by understanding their nature. So the question is, are you ready to understand and improve your risk-taking capability? Conclusion: risk is a word which is not in the mind of some people. It brings excitement for some and fear for others. But risk-taking is not a random act but a learned skill. It is connected to the hard wiring of our brain, our experiences, and our personality. In this book, we learn how our brain processes information, how fear can be managed, and how small calculated risks can lead us to great success. The art of risk teaches us that any person can become a smart risk taker if he adopts the right mindset and the right training. The world's biggest entrepreneurs developed their risk-taking skills and took big decisions by stepping out of their comfort zone. They not only overcame their fear but also saw risk as an opportunity. The biggest learning of this book is that risk-taking is not a coin toss. It is an art. The more you understand and practice it, the more you will be able to take bold and meaningful decisions in your life, whether you want to move ahead in your career or start a new business. If you want to start a new venture or take a big step in any field of your life, it is important to understand and adopt risks instead of running away from them. If you liked this book and got to learn something new from it, then definitely try to apply it in your life. Risk-taking is the bridge that takes you from an ordinary life to extraordinary success. So the next time when a big decision comes in front of you, ask yourself if this risk is worth taking, and if yes, then how can I take it in a smart way? If you like this video, then do not forget to like and share it. Tell us in the comments how you like this book and which next book summary do you want to see? See you in the next video with a new book, a new learning, and a new mindset. Keep learning, keep growing.